Welcome. Activation code required.
Unit 2, move into position. Units 3 and 4 maintain coverage of Sector 7. Unit 5, set up a perimeter with Unit 6.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Ain't really Indian, that boy fugazi. I just keep it player, you can never play me. You got an ass so fat, girl, let's make a baby. And another one. Then I'm back to the trap, I'm trying to double some. She a bad woke chick and I love her tongue. We some jurisdiction boys, we some one-on-ones. Look, don't compare me to no Martin dog, I'm like Malcolm X. Die by our freedom, we'll leave a cracker stretch. Round of applause, boy, you know we clapping text. Chucky dog, child's play, yeah, nigga, that's what's next. Open up the cans just like Arizona. Pull up masked up like we got the Rona. We set up jurisdictions when we buy the corner. How you claiming that's your hood and you not the owner? Be the B, I just pulled up in the need for speed. Free the land, tell the colonizers that they need to leave. Wild Indian up in my veins, you know how we bleed. You ain't gotta lie about who we is, dog, just keep it G. We at war, we can't keep the peace. Since we at war, gotta keep the peace. Whack a cone, then I meditate. Should I need to breathe? Keep a Olmec head when we slide, dog, cause we the shit.
Like my niggas said, bitch, we the sheep. I can't keep the peace. If it pop off, then I want a piece. I'm just on release. I'm in go mode, motherfuck the thief. In these streets like EBT, when we at war, make peace with me. I don't give a damn, understand. Fuck who stole this land, white or black or tan. Understand, it's fuck who stole this land. Might have seen me get little buddy these hands. He wasn't no abo man. Now these dudes is Sambo man. They full of shit like my ammo can.
Subscribe to the Unconquered tribe.
Sometimes we go along with a group because what they say convinces us they are right. This is called informational conformity. But sometimes we conform because we are apprehensive that the group will disapprove if we are deviant. This is called normative conformity.
Make sure you hit that like as you come in, and if you're brand new, go ahead and hit that subscribe. You are now live with the Incredible Hulk.
Now live with the Incredible Hulk.
Yo, peace to the tribes. Shed alive. Yo. Get this together here. Peace to the tribes. Let me see here. Let me get something together here and we get started. What we gonna do? Let's get this on up. Boom. There we go. There we go. See who in here, and then we'll get to it. Is everybody hearing me all right out there? Let me get some gems in the chat if you hear me loud and clear. Hey, man, I ain't even got my rang. Shout it. Let me get my rang. Shout it. But what you smoking on in the chat, man? What you smoking on? You smoke? If you don't smoke, say, nah, I'm smoking. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't no problem with that. Yo, I got the right. Let me make sure I got the right chat up. Yeah, I got the right one. Here we go. So we're gonna get on this. What's our topic here? Shocking secrets behind America's land theft. If you're new here, I am the Incredible Hawk. This is Hawk School for the Gifted and the Elect, and we are broadcasting live from the Immaculate Republic of Atlantis. Oh, what they got going on over here? So if you didn't get a chance to check out the video at the beginning, I uploaded where they were giving fake, what's the word? Identification, you know what I'm saying? To I guess they were coming from Mexico. I don't know who the people were. But really I want to talk about the stolen land in this one, and I want to keep it concise. Actually, we're going to deal with what is referred to as, let me see. Let me do this here. As the Flower Moon massacres. Actually, I don't know if you're familiar with that. Let me change this. Hawk School presents Flower Moon Massacre, a lesson in land theft. All right. And what we're going to talk about is, how the land was stolen. We know the land was stolen. Everybody knows about this. If you're familiar, with how we rocking over here at Hawk School, then you also know that the KGC, the Invisible Empire, all right? Let's turn the music off for this. All right. The KGC, the Invisible Empire, all right, as it's commonly referred to, is basically the Freemasons. All right, let's just get straight to it. All right, and I actually got a couple videos coming up. Actually, one of them, the thumbnail is Invisible Empire. I don't know what the title is. I got quite a few live streams lined up. And while I'm thinking about it, make sure you subscribe to Aboriginal Power Reloaded. Did an interview over there with my brother, so shout out to him, you know what I'm saying, for that opportunity. You can check that out. The video is on my page in Hawk School Reloaded. House School Live 2023 playlist.
Okay, I'm reloading.
All right. So make sure you check that interview out if you haven't. But as I said, I got quite a few things lined up. I'm working on a documentary I'm putting together. And actually today I went early this morning and got some footage where I found some actual remnants of the World's Fair. All right.
Surgical with this bitch, Jake. How you want it, dog? Huh? Closed casket?
And if you're from the St. Louis area, then just go up on Union. All right, it's right at Union and Waterman, and you can see it. Maybe somewhere I'll get a break in the live stream where I had an opportunity and I could actually post a picture of the structure. But I drove by it, you know, and it's probably maybe let's say a little less than a quarter mile from what you would call Forest Park, the heart of Forest Park, where the 1904 World's Fair was held in St. Louis. So it's a bit out the way, you know what I'm saying? But I'm realizing that it's still part of the World's Fair. So before I get that video uploaded, I really want to get a map and a layout, you know what I mean? So I can show and prove, because, you know, that's what we...
Surgical with this bitch, Jake. How you want it, dog? Huh? Closed casket?
Recently, I was able to read the book Killers of the Flower Moon by David Grann. I had not heard about it previously, but I saw it at a bookstore and bought it because it was about the 1920s. I found out later that...
Now, you're going to have to stay with me on the imagery of who they're showing as the Native Americans, all right? As we know, Native Americans are not aboriginal, all right? We know that very well, all right? So, when I don't want you to get lost in that, because this story, the reason I chose this video is because this story, it really shows you how they went about taking the land, all right? And this is actually the FBI's first big case, all right? And we know that ain't nothing but goddamn KKK.
You know, surgical with this bitch, Jake. How you want it, dog? Huh? Closed casket?
But what was done, the process that was carried out, and how they went about taking the land is a common, should I say, modus operandi when you're dealing with these Knights of the Golden Circle, or should I say Knights of Malta. As they're commonly referred to nowadays, all right? Formerly known as Order of the Dawn. Let's turn this down a little bit. We want to make sure everybody can hear me loud and clear. Let me get some gems in the chat if you hear me loud and clear. You know we was having some problems with our levels and shit. Matter of fact, let me make sure they got us on the right mic, bro. They love fucking my shit up. Pause. Everything looks good, man. So let me get some gems, man. If you can hear me loud and clear, make sure you say something in the chat. Let us know you're here. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna shout you out at some point. You know what I mean? So just stay with us. Stay with the group. You know what I mean? Shout out to the Godfather, Hana Show in the building, Roger W in the building, Charles Johnson in the building, our Tauntonist Amarukan of Amaruka is in the motherfucking building. Chief Tolliver in the building. Just to name a few. And let me give a shout out to my brother Reginald Jones for the Cash App donation, bro. That's love. We appreciate that. You know what I'm talking about? Now, this image is very telling, though. You can obviously she's what they would refer to as mulatto, right? Mixed race. He looking real Chinese, you know what I'm saying? He looking like it's still some nigga in him. Old head over here. And this nigga right here, this KKK, Night of the Golden Dawn, goddamn motherfucking Antichrist, one-eyed cock like a motherfucking this nigga.
Surgical with this bitch, Jake. I just want a dog.
Tabernacle, sanctuary, because we keep God first in everything we do.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it, man. Share the live stream, man. Share the live stream. Let's get some people in here, man. We're gonna break this down. How they stole the land. You know what I'm saying? Murderers, thieves, liars. You know what I'm talking about? But you know we Hawkin.
Dom the Monko. You know, I'm surgical with this bitch, Jake. How you want a dog? Huh? Closed casket.
You know we Hawkin. They say you're looking for a savior. You are your savior.
Dom the Monko.
Oh, you know.
Dom the Monko.
And you know it's crazy because I was just listening to something that goes with one of our videos, and he was talking about the revelations and the prophecies and the Great Spirit. And the Great Spirit is you. You are the Great Spirit, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? Let me make you understand. Let me show you so you can see.
Dom the Monko. Dom the Monko.
The Great Spirit is everything. The Spirit in everything, my nigga. The Spirit in the hawk. The Spirit in the eagle. The Spirit in the vulture. The Spirit in the bear. The Spirit in the motherfucking wolf, my nigga. The Spirit in Christ. The Spirit in you. You know what I'm talking about? We are the best of people raised for the good of mankind. It's checkup time.
Not even how you thought. Niggas, checkup time. Time to pay the piper. Well, but you don't have to, huh? You got rights to believe however you want to, huh? There's only one God. There's only one blood covenant book that's floating around here of God Almighty. Not a covenant of a man would make house niggas, Ku Klux Klan members, and everyone to feel like they can just shuffle their ass foot about getting about the business I'm talking about.
Dom the Monko. Dom the Monko.
That not only was it acclaimed, it is also currently being made into a film by none other than Martin Scorsese, so the story is especially relevant now. This is a story involving Native Americans, oil, conspiracy, and murder, and it's going to be a wild ride.
It's gonna be a wild ride, man. Share the live stream. And you know what? Where is that at, man? I wanted to give you a quick little fun fact. Is it on this one? Because what's known now, or what's referred to as black gold, all right, what you call oil, black gold was actually the name of a 1924 Osage Kentucky Derby, a horse that won the Kentucky Derby, all right? And the name of the Osage horse was Black Gold, which would later be the term they used to refer to the oil that they were stealing from the land. So that's the original black gold.
Right? You know, I'm surgical with this bitch, Jake. How you want a dog? Huh? Yours Casper.
Minerals, including oil, live on a reservation in the middle of nowhere, on land that seemingly provided nothing of real value, until one time it did. The Osage negotiated with the US government over their tribal lands, which resulted in an agreement that the Osage would have the rights to any minerals, including oil, gas, and coal, that were found on the land. Of course, it was expected that there would not be anything useful. A lot had developed in the US in the nearly 50 years since the Osage had begun living on their Oklahoma reservation. One of the biggest changes was the massive boom of the automobile industry. To fuel this industrial monster, a lot of oil was needed, and the Osage got very, very lucky. A huge amount of oil had been discovered on their land, which was now their legal property, and it seems like there could be no blatant violation of property rights by the white man as in the past. The Osage became very wealthy, leasing the land to white people to get the oil, and the money was distributed to all members of the tribe. The Osage enjoyed a high standard of living, in sharp contrast with other Native American tribes on other reservations, even having white servants under their Osage employers, reversing
I don't think they heard me.
living, in sharp contrast with other Native American tribes on other reservations, even having white servants under their Osage employers, reversing the racial hierarchy that had been established and perpetuated in the rest of the country. Even compared to wealth, their newfound wealth was staggering. Other Native American tribes on other reservations, even having white servants under their Osage employers, reversing the racial hierarchy of living, in sharp contrast with other Native American tribes on other reservations. Even having white servants under their Osage employers, reversing the racial hierarchy that had been established and perpetuated in the rest of the country. Even compared to well-off white people, their newfound wealth was staggering. However, there was a catch. Most Osage tribe members were considered legally incapable of handling such a large amount of money, for no other reason except that the fact that they were seen as ignorant Indians. This required them to have someone, almost always a white man, oversee their finances. They couldn't always freely purchase things, though many still bought things like automobiles. Although there were exploitative overseers, there were also white allies of the Osage, who were considered protectors in a sense. One of these people was William Hale, a former cowboy who had been with the Osage since before the oil boom, and was probably the biggest benefactor in the community. He often donated large amounts.
Alright, yeah, let me get in here. So now they got a benefactor, all right? Now they're good and washed the goddamn tribe. Now, I think this is that fake tribe. I was trying to goddamn bring up the news clipping we had in the early 1800s when they was going to set this bullshit ass nation up, all right? Respectfully, you know what I'm saying? And I don't mean no disrespect to any so-called Native Americans or whatever you want to call yourself, or whatever connection you feel you have. But I do notice some very strange happenings. All right, when it comes to this tribe. All right. This is a Kansas historical marker, and it says this mission was founded in 1847 for Osage Indians living along the Neosho and Verdigris rivers. A manual labor school for boys was established by the Jesuits. Ouch. And the Department for Girls by the Sisters of Loretto. Highest recorded enrollment was 239. In 1848, the first Catholic church in southern Kansas was built. During the Civil War, when property was laid waste throughout the border, the mission was always spared and school was never suspended. When the Osage moved to Indian Territory in 1870, white children gradually replaced the Indians. Wait, what? What? Are they just going to put that right there on a historical marker like that? I digress. So, also we learned, as we studied the Seminole Wars in Florida, that treaty means treat, all right? This is what you get when we do the kick though, my nigga. This is your half. That's where the treaty come from, all right? These niggas traded on somebody. They done convince you to fight against your people somewhere along the road. And for this, they're gonna give you a treat. They're gonna treat you well. New American with a treaty, all right?
Dom the Monko. Dom the Monko.
I mean, this is right on the historical marker. Let's continue.
Of money to schools and the local hospital. Hale called himself a friend of the Osage and signed his name with the title Reverend at the beginning, not because he was ordained, but because he was such a positive influence on the community. A few Osage women who had married white men thought themselves fortunate because at least their overseer was their own spouse. These men were a bit less colorful than Hale, but were also...
Respectfully, your auntie looked like your uncle.
Dom the Monko. Dom the Monko.
I can't make this shit up, man. You can still see the nigga on him though. What you see on his collar?
You know, I'm surgical with this bitch, Jake. How you want a dog? Huh? Closed casket.
That nigga's a mulatto right there. Hawk School presents Flower Moon Massacre, a lesson in land theft. Oh yeah, I'm rated #1 jewel dropper on YouTube, you didn't know?
Dom the Monko.
Okay,
Dom the Monko.
seen as reliable for the safety of the Osage's financial interests. Among the Osage was Anna Brown, a young woman recently divorced from her white husband. Anna took her share of the oil money and lived the quintessential flapper life, dancing at parties all night and going to clubs, and she had also developed.
So, in essence, she got turned out, all right?
Cause you gonna smell my cologne. Intimate Yaki on some bar number 9. Cause I do not play.
She washed all up.
Yes, Tabernacle Sanctuary. Cause we keep God first in everything we do.
Respectfully. Did I say respectfully?
Developed a liking for bootleg liquor. While her lifestyle was slightly looked down on by older tribe members, there didn't seem to be too much harm in it.
The first step to funnel hacking
Bastards.
is finding ads. And today I want to click the.
In May 1921, Anna went missing. At first, the family assumed or hoped that she had simply gone out on a lengthy dancing and drinking binge, perhaps in a city in a different state. But that theory was dashed when, on May 27th, about a week after.
Press 1 if she drunk.
You know, surgical with this bitch, Jake. How you want a dog, huh?
You can see it in her eyes. They got her wasted. Let me tweet this. Aboriginal truth. We'll do # Aboriginal # truth. Just say hashtag. And then we'll say not hashtag Native American.
Dom the Mongo. Cause you gonna smell my cologne. Intimate Yaki on some bar number 9. Cause I do not play.
See, remember that type thing.
Tabernacle Sanctuary. Cause we keep God first in everything we do.
We definitely need everybody to support the channel, man. Share the live stream. I mean, it's crazy how they hide us, bro. Like when I did the interview with Aboriginal Power, shout out my motherfucking brother, big Aboriginal Power. Subscribe to his channel, his main channel, Aboriginal Power, by the way. Yeah, these devils so cutthroat though. These devils so cutthroat with hiding the truth. All right. Which way? This way. They hiding the truth. All right. I'm talking about. I don't put the video on my playlist. All right, so that I can have it show on my channel. You know what I'm saying? To cross promote, because that's what we do. You know what I'm saying? It's about cooperation, not motherfucker. What my nigga say? Where my nigga at, man? Where my nigga at, man? Where my nigga up here, man? Where my nigga at? What is it about?
Stupid bitch. It's not of competition, it's of cooperation. Stupid ass house nigga.
Dom the Mongo. Dom the Mongo.
Need I say more?
Okay, I'm reloading.
But I'm saying that to say this. So they goddamn hide the video. Like it won't even show on my playlist. Like we just aired the video. You know what I'm saying? And it won't even show on the playlist. Like they literally hide this shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna keep doing what we do. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to smell my cologne.
Smell my cologne. Issey Miyake on some bar number 9. Do not play.
That's social on our
Tabernacle sanctuary, because we keep God first in everything we do.
After she had gone missing, a badly decomposed body was discovered near a creek, blackened, bloated, and worm-infested. Upon autopsy, it was discovered that Anna had been shot in the back of the head with a small firearm from above, execution style. The only evidence that had been found at the scene was a bottle that had probably contained illegal alcohol and 2 sets of tire tracks. Anna had 2 living sisters, Molly and Rita. A third sister had died years before from a strange illness. Molly was married to a white man named Ernest Burkhart, and Rita to an Osage man named Bill Smith. Their mother, Lizzie, was of an old breed, who was suspicious of the newfound wealth, and more content to continue with the ancient traditions of the Osage. Despite Anna's rather reckless modern lifestyle, she had been Lizzie's favorite daughter. Less than 2 months after Anna's death, Lizzie would also die, many thinking it was from heartbreak. Very shortly before Anna's disappearance, a young Osage man named Charles Whitehorn had also been found dead, with 2 bullet holes in his head. In February, some months later, an Osage man named William Stepson also died unexpectedly, and things would only get stranger from there. Between March and August 1922, 3 more people related to the Osage community died suddenly and mysteriously. The third was a white man sent to Washington, D.C. as a representative of the Osage to investigate the string of murders on the Osage lands. His body was found naked, and he had been stabbed nearly 2 dozen times. In February, some months later, an Osage man named William many thinking it was from heartbreak. Very shortly before Anna's disappearance, a young Osage man named Charles.
Hey, but you know, since I'm a real live motherfucking street nigga, respectfully. Wow, England. There's only 2 ways, or should I say 2 reasons, for stabbing a motherfucker 12 times. Either you know him and you hate his fucking guts, or you just a motherfucking psycho. So, it's one of the 2. Either it's a crazy motherfucking Ku Klux Klan, or it's just a regular Ku Klux Klan.
Charles Whitehorn had also been found dead.
But see, what we've grown to realize, let's clear the mic, let's clear the table for this. What we've learned, all right, what we've seen, what we've witnessed, because of the era we live in, the world we live in now, is that once these so-called brothers, you know, make use of you, then they're going to do away with you. And it's just like that.
Okay,
R.I.P. Bernie Mac.
With 2 bullet holes in his head. In February, some months later, an Osage man named William Stepson also died unexpectedly, and things would only get stranger from there. Between March and August 1922, 3 more people related to the Osage community died suddenly and mysteriously. The third was a white man sent to Washington, D.C. as a representative of the Osage to investigate the string of murders on the Osage lands.
Now, as you can see in the background of this picture, it's goddamn groupie bitches, you know what I'm saying, all back here. This nigga right here, you can see that his daddy was probably mixed. But you can see all these foreigners lined up right here across the front. These the new wives, all right? Because they lining these niggas up. Mixing their blood up. They've been doing this. All right. If you look at the faces of all these women and how different they are. These are all different women, bro. These people are different, bro. Look at her back here. Look at her hair. She all in the society. She flappered out. You see them back here? You see the flappers? Them the motherfucking thoughts. That's old school for thought. Flappers. So they did the same thing to the women they did to the men. Got them drunk and stole their motherfucking land.
You know, I'm surgical with this bitch, Jake. How you want it, dog? Huh? Closed casket?
Let me look and see if the chat agrees that these are all different motherfucking people, bro. So, my bad on the echo, man. You know I'm trying to do too much, man. You know I think I'm flying shit. Yeah, they look like some motherfucking slabs. That's exactly what they look like. And then these the same motherfuckers you had these niggas talking about some goddamn what's this shit they talking about? Dusky. What's the motherfucking word they call these motherfuckers? What they call them motherfuckers? Tawny. Bro, these ain't the same people, bro. And look, we got I got a live stream coming up. You know what I'm saying? Man, I ain't gonna give it away, man. We just gonna keep on doing what we do, man. But these is motherfucking invaders. You know what I'm saying? They straight invaders, dog. Let's get back to it, man. Let me get some gems in the chat, man. If all the motherfucking sound is good, man. If the volume is good, if you can hear everything. I'm playing the music, so hopefully, you know what I'm saying, they don't hate on the fact that we, you know what I'm saying, doing what we do. You know what I mean? So stay with me. Share the live stream. Tribe.
Subscribe to the Unconquered tribe.
Sometimes
preaching rapture and disappearing, and it's known as written that the righteous shall inherit the kingdom of God, the earth, and the wicked shall be shaken out.
By this point, this series of connected murders were being called the Osage Reign of Terror. Things were not helped by the complete failure of local law enforcement and politicians. The local sheriff had been ousted from his position for failing to uphold the law and letting bootleggers operate in the area. Initial outside investigators were often corrupt, with one being caught colluding with known criminals and accepting bribes. Even the governor of Oklahoma, Jack C. Walton, couldn't be relied on. He was impeached out of office after serving for less than a year for accepting under-the-table contributions from an oil man. There was, however, one white man who was determined to find out who was murdering all of the people in and around the Osage tribe. This man was W.W. Vaughn, and
Now, I will also want to add, for all my St. Louis people, you do know that this is the same tribe, and they're supposed to have land in like 16 states or some shit, 15, 16 states, all right? Made up ass tribe, you know how they do. But this is the same tribe who owns Sugarloaf Mound, all right? They got the rights over Sugarloaf Mound. And see, the reason they use these, improved order of the red man, Freemason ass, goddamn, sellout ass motherfucking fake aboriginal Native American motherfuckers with these tribes to steal the land and to hide the secrets is because, you know what I mean, they know what they doing. They part of the goddamn narrative. You know what I'm saying? Like, they know to get these niggas the rights to the land, like Sugarloaf Mound that's in St. Louis. We dropped the video on. They say, okay, we're gonna give him the rights, give that tribe the rights to the land. Why? Because they in the fucking brotherhood, and they gonna be with whatever program these Knights of the Golden Circle motherfuckers with. KKK, 33rd degree. All right, K is the 11th letter of the alphabet. All right, 11 plus 11 plus 11. All right, K plus K plus K. What you end up with? 33, my nigga. Shit is simple, bro. These motherfuckers ain't smart. These motherfuckers ain't smart, dog.
upstanding local citizen and attorney who had been secretly collecting evidence on his own. In June 1923, he was summoned to the bedside of a nephew of a famous Osage chief, who was dying in a hospital from an apparent poisoning. After making the trek, partly by train,
these motherfuckers been poisoning niggas way before Pimp C. Way before DJ Paul gave Pimp C that lean that killed him. Or did they blow his head off? I don't know, but way before that, another Ku Klux Klan member, Black KKK. Ain't no name I won't name. Ain't no name I won't name. They been killing niggas with medicine. They been killing niggas with the medication. Shit ain't new. That's what I'm telling you. All this shit is the same, bro. And to all you niggas out there, bro, because I know niggas who are Freemasons, who don't know no better, who haven't moved all the way up to the top. My nigga, you are making allegiance to Lucifer, nigga. When they say God, nigga, that's why they say God. The way they say it. So they can make it mean any fucking body. The trap God, my nigga. You could be the goddamn cupcake God if you want to, my nigga. And not only is your allegiance to the adversary, my nigga, all right, but the people who started this shit, the people who you're swearing allegiance to, the people who you'll kill me for, my nigga, is motherfucking KKK members, my nigga. What the fuck is wrong with you? That's why I'm standing on this shit, bro. Straight up. See you niggas hating, trying to steal our motherfucking identity, steal our motherfucking legacy, erase us from history. Any motherfucker I catch trying to erase me and my motherfucking people from history, bro, I'm on your ass, bro, like a rash, no homo. I wouldn't give a fuck what color you are. That's why they sent me. Because I don't give a fuck if you the blackest nigga on the planet. I don't give a fuck if you the whitest nigga. The whitest, pale facest motherfucker. I don't give a fuck if you're plaid, polka dot. If you come to Atlantis pretending like we ain't them niggas, bro, it's going to be a problem with Big Hawk School. Shit going to get incredible fast. I digress.
Vaughn was able to get there in time. The dying Osage man specifically chose Vaughn to tell him what he knew about who poisoned him. Vaughn wrote down all that the man said, and seemed satisfied that this new information was a big break in the case. But after Vaughn hopped on the next train back, he was never seen again. About 2 days later, his body was found beside the railway tracks, having been thrown from the moving train and his neck broken. To make things even stranger, his secret stash of evidence had been cleared out.
They throwing niggas on the tracks, tribe. Alright? Just the same way they killed Malcolm X's daddy, my nigga. But who is he fucking with? Pan-Africans. Marcus Garvey movement. Alright? See, this nigga and this nigga different. See, this nigga like me. This nigga like them niggas in the bleachers. You know what I'm talking about? This ain't that. You could get with this. Wild Indian shit. Tribe. RPX. You get with this real roughneck, wild Indian street nigga shit. Yeah, I said it, and I won't take it back. Fuck y'all, man. I'm sick of y'all. We are the culture. Fuck you mean? The streets is the culture. The hood is the culture. Wild Indians is the culture. We set the tone. Fuck you talking about? Whatever we doing in the hood is the fly shit. All you other motherfuckers just trying to be some other motherfuckers.
Vaughn left behind a wife and 10 children, who were all supported by the Osage, though still lived in poverty for a long time. I haven't mentioned all of the murders individually, but by this point, 24 Osage tribe members had been killed, along with a few behind a wife and 10 children, who were all supported by the Osage, though still lived in poverty.
Well, they was replaced by white people. Say it ain't so.
property for a long time. I haven't mentioned all of the murders individually, but by this point, 24 Osage tribe members had been killed, along with a few white men who had tried to help them or had possible inside information. Then there was also individually, but by this point, 24 Osage tribe members had been killed, individually, but by this point, 24 Osage tribe members had been killed, individually, but by this point, 24 Osage tribe members had been killed, along with a few white men who had tried to help them, individually, but by this point, 24 Osage tribe members had been killed, along with a few white men who had tried to help them or had possible inside information. Then there was also the revelation that Anna Brown had been pregnant at the time of her death. Things were already out of hand, and the terror was widespread in the Osage community. People were suddenly dying everywhere, and no one really knew why. It seemed that the killer or killers were omniscient. If someone knew something, they would be hunted down and murdered without the killers leaving a detectable trace. And local authorities had been effectively frightened into inaction, having received multiple threatening anonymous messages. The Osage needed something bigger than...
Look at this little nigga right here, man. Put some gems in the chat if you see little bro in the suit, and if you don't see nigga still on his face. You can see it on the old head next to him. They just washed us out. Look at old girl up between them, up between their shoulders. You can see what they did, bro. You get with this, or you get with that. You can be a rider or a punk. You can be real or fake. There is no in between. There is no in between, my nigga.
We have style, we got flavor, we got rhythm. I mean, the black man in America is the most copied man on this planet, bar none. Everybody want to be a nigga, but nobody want to be a nigga. How about that question?
Local state support, and they eventually received it from the relatively new Bureau of Investigation, which later became the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The Osage murder report, and they eventually received it from the relatively new Bureau of Investigation, been effectively frightened into inaction, having received multiple threatening anonymous messages. The Osage needed something bigger than local or even state support, and they eventually received it from the relatively new Bureau of Investigation, which later became the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Messages. The Osage needed something bigger than local or even state support, and they eventually received it from the relatively new Bureau of Investigation, which later became the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The Osage murders had gone all the way up to J. Edgar Hoover himself. The lead investigator, they would be hunted down and murdered without the killers leaving a detectable trace. If someone knew something, they would be dying everywhere, and no one really knew why. I haven't mentioned all of the murders individually, but by this point, 24 Osage tribe members had been killed, along with a few white men who had tried to help them or had possible inside information. Then there was also the revelation that Anna Brown had been pregnant at the time of her death. Things were already out of hand, and the terror was widespread in the Osage community. People were suddenly dying everywhere, and no one really knew why. It seemed that the killer or killers were omniscient. If someone knew something, they would be hunted down and murdered without the killers leaving a detectable trace. And local authorities had been effectively frightened into inaction, having received multiple threatening anonymous messages. The Osage needed something bigger than local or even state support, and they eventually received it from the relatively new Bureau of Investigation, which later became the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The Osage murders had gone all the way up to J. Edgar Hoover himself.
Look at J. Edgar Hoover looking like a nigga. Hey, boy, I ain't never seen no white man get fade like that. I'm just saying. And see, so this J. Edgar Hoover, all right, he all the way up to the top. We go all the way to the top, my nigga. All right. So, you know, I know some people don't really be vibing with, you know, the little hip hop shit, talking about that shit, but all this shit go together, my nigga. All right. Because that's the propaganda machine in our culture. All right. So if you're going to call that our culture, then we got to at least regulate how that is being perpetuated to our people. I just seen the video and you got goddamn academics, a Jamaican talking to Vladimir, a Russian, and you got a Russian and a Jamaican talking about what the fuck we doing over here in America and what the culture is and decide what our culture is. Get rid of them niggas, bro. Get rid of them niggas, bro. Shit like that. They goddamn getting niggas killed every goddamn video they drop. Or locked up, one. You think that's a coincidence? We gonna make these niggas millionaires for propagating us killing each other, my nigga? That's why they killed Pimp C.
The lead investigator on the case was Tom White, a former Texas Ranger with a very perceptive mind. Only months after White took up the case, progress seemed to be going well. The investigation also involved a number of undercover agents who tried to befriend suspects and glean information from them casually. First, White was suspicious about the fact that the bullet that had killed Anna Brown had never been found, despite there being no exit wound. The local doctors, the Schoen brothers, claimed that they had searched the inside of Brown's head. White believed they had purposely disposed of the evidence. Then it was discovered that the brothers had talked privately with Bill Smith as he was languishing on his deathbed in the hospital.
This nigga look goddamn Filipino, my nigga. Like, what the fuck going on?
It turned out that they were trying to get Smith to sign legal papers giving one of the brothers the rights to his Osage wife's estate. This was taken as evidence of the widespread and sleazy financial and legal corruption involving Osage finances, but that did not necessarily connect to the murders. This led to a wider investigation of the extensive corruption. It was discovered that judges appointed those who had supported them in elections as overseers of Osage tribe members as a reward. When an overseer funneled Osage money into their own pockets and the case went to the local judge, the case was ignored. Many overseers and judges were in cahoots in this way. During the investigation into this part of the case, White found a trail of insurance policies and financial documents, some of which had been illegally altered, and this trail led directly to one man. William. Judges were in cahoots in this way. The reward. Extensive corruption. It was discovered. This led to a
Excuse me. Now, as you see, I'm smoking some gas. But as you see, 1923. All this Jim Crow, all this shit. I told y'all, 1820 to 1920. All right. They're getting out of lands. They done changed all the names. They washed niggas out the goddamn tribes, created all these fake ass tribes full of some motherfucker, scallywag ass motherfucking ex-servants, respectfully. And here we are.
a wider the extensive corruption. It was just,
and that's what I said, bro. They've been doing the same shit for 100 years. All right? They've been in the same brotherhood, killing the niggas, killing us, my nigga, the aboriginals, the American Indians, the Negroes, the niggas. And just for the record, when you niggas leave the country, they're going to call you American. Because that's what you are. That's what we are. All right? The copper color races found on this continent. All right? That's referring to us. When whatever went down in Mexico, they called them niggas Americans. All right? That's what everybody else call us everywhere else. They know what niggas is. We Americans. All right? So how you gonna let these goofy, stupid motherfuckers keep doing the same shit to us? Taking the smart niggas from amongst us as soon as they see them, and you know, they know these niggas are they clout chasing ass niggas. You know what I'm saying? For lack of better terms. They know they can be bought off. They know this bitch a flapper. Get motherfucker drunk. Murdering motherfuckers. This shit the same shit they been doing. Laying niggas on the tracks. Lacing niggas medication. Stabbing niggas. And then you goofy ass niggas think you official in some brotherhood, bro, and these people are racist, my nigga. They look at you worse than they look at me. Honestly, bro. And you don't even understand that. My nigga, you are the weakest link.
Covered that judges appointed those who had supporting elections as overseers of Osage tribe members as a reward. When an overseer funneled Osage money into their own pockets and the case went to the local judge, the case was ignored. Many overseers and judges were appointed those who had supported them during elections as overseers of Osage tribe members as a reward. This led to a wider investigation of the extensive corruption. It was discovered that judges appointed those who had supported them during elections as overseers of Osage tribe members, but that did not necessarily connect to the murders. This led to a wider investigation of the extensive corruption. It was discovered that judges appointed those who had supported them during elections as overseers of Osage tribe members as a reward. When an overseer funneled Osage money into their own pockets and the case went to the local judge, the case was ignored. Many overseers and judges were in cahoots in this way. During the investigation into this part of the case, White found a trail of insurance policies and financial documents, some of which had been illegally altered, and this trail led directly to one man, William Hale. Financial documents, some of which had been illegally altered, and this trail led directly to one financial documents, some of which had been illegally altered, financial documents, some of which had been illegally altered, financial documents, some of which had been illegally altered, and this trail led directly to one man, William Hale. Trail of insurance policies and financial documents, some of which had been illegally altered, trail of insurance policies and financial documents, some of which had been illegally altered, and this trail led directly to one man, William Hale, the so-called friend of the Osage. It also became an important fact that Molly's husband, Ernest Burkhart, and
over the tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. So they all in on it. The judges, KKK, the police, KKK. The whole system is goddamn Knights of the Golden Circle. The whole system. Straight KKK, bro. The whole country, bro.
talk to the house of Israel for a minute, huh? If you're really serious and you're looking for a Christ man, the one who anointed with the Lord, with the Spirit of the Lord to do his will, I'm that nigga. You not stop faking.
And were said to be fiercely loyal to him to the point of being his minions. It soon became apparent what the motive was. Perhaps unsurprisingly, it was the Osage's wealth. The fact that many of these murders seemed to surround Molly Burkhart and her family was also no coincidence. White discovered that Hale was funneling individual tribe members' shares of the Osage Mineral Trust to Molly Burkhart's family. Then, with those family members dead, the shares would go to Molly herself. These shares in the Mineral Trust were inherited by another tribe member. The fact that many of these murders seemed to surround Molly Burkhart and her family was also no coincidence. White discovered that Hale was funneling individual tribe members' shares of the Osage Mineral Trust to Molly Burkhart's family. Then, with those family members dead, the shares would go to Molly herself. These shares in the Mineral Trust were inherited by another tribe member, though it was possible to pass them down to others not part of the tribe. This could be accomplished easily if a tribe member was married to an outsider. If this was a white person, then they could act as the overseer of the finances and also inherit the shares upon the tribe member's death. And who was the overseer of Molly's finances? None other than her husband, Ernest Burkhart, truly loyal nephew of William Hale. And if Molly died, all of the accumulated money would go straight to him. Tom White believed he had culprits. Now it was just a matter of getting enough evidence to take them down. For this, White had to talk with local criminals, who it was rumored Hale had collaborated with for some of the murders. First was a young outlaw named Dick Gregg. Gregg had been a
Young outlaw is a glorified white people word for KKK member. Another Klansman, all right? Jesse James was the biggest motherfucking Klansman there is. Faked his death and everything. Stole all types of our grandparents' shit, my nigga. And that's why I say that's why they had these fake-ass tribes, and then they give them the rights to these fake-ass sites where all our stolen shit is buried. Why you think they ain't doing no excavations?
a member of the outlaw Al Spencer's gang before Spencer was gunned down by a lawman in September 1923. In exchange for reduced jail time, Gregg recalled that Hale had approached him and Spencer about killing Bill and Rita Smith for a hefty sum of money. Spencer had refused, saying that he didn't believe in murdering a woman for money, and Gregg agreed with his leader. It also became apparent to White that many of the criminals and bootleggers that Hale had supposedly worked with later died under mysterious circumstances. Moreover, the undercover agents uncovered a network of local white men secretly in league with Hale, tipping him off about the activities of others. And White knew that Hale knew he was getting closer. Hale began giving away more money to locals, trying to further cement his reputation as a friend of the Osage, while he was possibly plotting more of their murders. Then there was another promising lead. Cement his reputation as a friend of the Osage, while he was possibly plotting more of their murders.
So now this is what the Indians look like now, my nigga.
Then there was another promising lead. A criminal in jail named Bert Lawson claimed to have information about the Smith murders. In an interview with White, he said that Hale had approached him with an offer to blow up the Smiths' house, which he did, and he directly implicated Ernest Burkhart. Meanwhile, Molly Burkhart had become reclusive, which Ernest blamed on her worsening diabetes. But there was more to it than that, it seemed. A local priest became concerned when Molly, an avid churchgoer, stopped attending services. He also heard rumors that she was being held against her will. The priest received a secret message from Molly, who said she believed someone was trying to poison her. Knowing that poisoned liquor had been a common MO for the murders, the priest was able to send a secret message back to her, telling her not to drink any liquor that was offered. But even with that information, she said she believed someone was trying to poison her. Knowing that poisoned liquor had been a common MO for the murders, the priest received a secret message from Molly, who said she believed someone was trying to poison her. Knowing that poisoned liquor had been a common MO for the murders, the priest was able to send a secret message back to her, telling her not to drink any liquor that was offered. But even with that information, her condition was apparently getting worse. Then there was the realization that the insulin shot she was receiving from local doctors, including the previously mentioned Schoen brothers, might be poisoned. The worried priest broke the convention of secrecy between priest and parishioner, and divulged the information to White. White acted fast and secured warrants for the arrests of Hale and Burkhart, despite not having all that much direct evidence.
Boy, if that ain't a scallywag pair.
But Molly was in very grave danger. Since agents with the Bureau of Investigation could not arrest anyone themselves, they were assisted by local law enforcement, which, oddly enough, included the formerly disgraced local sheriff who had miraculously been re-elected to office. But to really be able to prove Hale and Burkhart's guilt, White and his team desperately needed more evidence. Another local criminal named Blackie Thompson, who was serving time for murdering a police officer, told White that Hale and Burkhart had also approached him about killing Bill and Rita Smith. This evidence was far more reliable than what Lawson had said, since he was promised reduced jail time. Because Thompson's crime was so severe, White had already told him that a reduced sentence was impossible, so it seemed he had less reason for an ulterior motive. Though it should be noted that Thompson had previously been used as an undercover informant in the same case previously, but had escaped him that a reduced sentence was impossible, so it seemed he had less reason for an ulterior motive. Though it should be noted that Thompson had previously been used as an undercover informant in the same case previously, but had escaped and went on a crime spree, which is when he murdered that police officer. White had singled out Burkhart for questioning rather than Hale. Ernest, being the follower, was more likely to spill his guts under pressure than the calm and collected Hale. Ernest Burkhart had not willingly given any useful information.
See, you could be calm and collected when you're part of a racist, white supremacist brotherhood that rules the motherfucking country. You know what I'm saying? That will make you confident, I must say, respectfully.
About his or Hale's role in the murders, and it didn't seem like he would budge. Thompson was brought under armed guard to meet with Burkhart face to face. Thompson said he had told White everything. After this meeting, Burkhart was visibly shaken. And
hey, yo, if you're looking for their motherfucking descendants, I would probably check the Senate, you know what I'm saying? Congress, White House, Washington, D.C., you know what I'm saying? Or actually, I can do you one better.
all these years, and we told him, and he finally did it. I was like,
Calling to order the 6th Osage Nation Congress for special session. Today's date is June 20th, 2019. It is 10 a.m. First item on the agenda is prayer. Ask Mr. Lou Brock if he would give us some morning prayer.
Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for this beautiful day that you've given us, Lord. I thank you so much for this Osage Nation Congress. And I just ask for blessings upon each and every one of them making these decisions. I also ask prayers for the executive and judicial and all of our people who serve the Osage people. Thank you so much for this privilege. And I just ask that you guide and direct us all in the way that you'd have us to go. I ask these things all in your precious holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Brock. Roll call, please.
Congressman Big Horse,
Present.
Congresswoman Edwards, Congresswoman Good Fox,
Present.
Congresswoman Lemon,
Present.
Congressman Maker, Congressman Mason, Congressman Potts,
Present.
Congresswoman Pratt,
Potts here.
Congresswoman Sabler,
Present.
Congressman Walker,
Here.
Congresswoman Whitehorn,
Here.
Speaker Tillman,
Here.
Assistant Chief Redcorn.
Present.
We have a quorum. Congressman Maker and Congressman Mason let me know that they would be out today. Both are having doctor's appointments. I just, for the record, like to say welcome back to Congresswoman Lemon. We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Next item is the approval of the journal. Take a few minutes and please review the journal from yesterday, June.
Yes.
Congresswoman Whitehorn,
Yes.
Speaker Tillman,
Yes. The motion passes. Congressman Potts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda and place ONCA 1957 and ONCA 1958 on first reading on today's agenda.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. Congressman Walker.
I can make a motion to amend, can't I?
Can you give us a moment, please?
Withdraw.
There's a motion on the floor. Could you repeat the motion again, please?
Motion is to amend the agenda to place ONCA 1957 and 1958 on first reading on today's agenda.
There was a motion and a second.
I know ain't nobody seeing me, bro.
Votes to approve. Roll call.
I know it, bro. I know I'm a legend, bro.
You won't speak on flesh. You want because you see flesh and shit. And you know why they always told you, a man can't be God. Huh? What you calling me for? I told you what I'm about. It's about getting lawyers, training them up in the word, the scriptures, and we're going to help the poor, the fatherless that can't afford their legality fee. They can't afford justice. I know you all in for justice, huh? Just like white supremacists, huh? White supremacists print your judgment for your ass and swing you from a noose. Black man.
Given any useful information about his or Hale's role in the murders, and it didn't seem like he would budge. Thompson was brought under armed guard to meet with Burkhart face to face. Thompson said he had told White everything. After this meeting, Burkhart was visibly shaken, and it wasn't long afterward that Ernest Burkhart confessed. He confirmed that Lawson had been lying, so it was fortunate for White that he had gotten testimony from Thompson. Molly Burkhart had been transferred to a hospital, where her health rapidly improved, adding more fuel to the theory that she was being poisoned through her insulin treatment. White believed the Schoen brothers had been a part of the job, but he couldn't prove it, and neither of them confessed to anything.
That's a scallywag. I said it early. Yeah, I had to give myself bars early. That, my friend, is the son of a scallywag.
Importantly, in his confession, Ernest Burkhart included a man named John Ramsey in the conspiracy, who turned out to be the much sought-after gunman of Henry Roan, and possibly other murders as well. Despite his risky confession, Molly refused to believe her husband had been involved in any of the killings. Then there was the next hurdle, the trial. William Hale. Molly refused to believe her husband had been involved in any of the killings.
Now, if your name Molly and you look like this, you probably gonna fall for the okie doke. Hey man, say man, who uncle is this? Respectfully. And you can see the goddamn KKK member right there. And he drunk as shit. These motherfuckers weird, bro. I mean, weird, my nigga.
Then there was the next hurdle, the trial. William Hale had many connections, among locals and among local and state government officials. Due to Hale's behind-the-scenes meddling, it was decided that the case would be tried by the state of Oklahoma, where he had more influence, rather than a federal court, which would normally have applied to tribal lands. Then things got worse for White. Before Ernest could present his important witness testimony, Hale's attorney successfully coerced him into agreeing to delay his testimony for 1 day, which the judge agreed to. The next time he took the stand, he retracted his statements against Hale, and claimed, along with Hale and Ramsey, that he was coerced and tortured by White and his agents, and that he was forced to confess. This left White's best witness as Kelsey Morrison, a local criminal whose loyalty had flip-flopped between the federal agents and Hale. Morrison still testified against Hale, but his history didn't make him a very reliable key witness. But just when things were looking bad for the prosecution, something unexpected happened. Ernest Burkhart came around again. Burkhart had secretly spoken with the prosecuting attorney, ditching Hale's defense attorney and hiring his own lawyer, and changed his plea from not guilty to guilty. He also confirmed that White and his agents had not coerced or abused him, Hale, or Ramsey. Then the Supreme Court decided that the murder of Henry Roan had occurred on tribal lands, and therefore the case would be sent to a federal court, where Hale had far less power. Even though Ernest Burkhart was sentenced to life in prison plus hard labor, he reportedly looked relieved, like he had finally purged the guilty demons from his conscience. After there were fairly reliable reports that at least one juror had been bribed and that one witness had been threatened with death by Hale's defense attorney, the judge dismissed the jury and a new one was assembled. These reports were later confirmed, though the prosecution decided not to charge the defense attorney with obstruction of justice in order to not delay the current trial against Hale and Ramsey. There were understandable concerns that an all-white jury would not care about the murder of Indians, but the new jury found Hale and Ramsey guilty of first-degree murder for the killing of Henry Roan. Although the usual punishment was execution, they were instead sentenced to life in prison. Whether that means they got off too lightly is up to you. The next year came the trial for Anna Brown's murder. Ernest's brother, Brian Burkhart, was given immunity so he would testify against Kelsey Morrison, who had once again switched his loyalty to Hale. Brian testified that he had helped get Anna drunk and held her in place while Morrison shot her. And that's where the trials ended. While the culprits had not been tried for all of the victims' murders, they had been caught and would be punished. Despite all of the bumps in the road during the investigation and the prejudice that many involved had towards Native Americans, in the end, the federal justice system hadn't completely failed this time, as it had so many other times in the past. After the onset of the Great Depression, the Osage wealth in oil rapidly decreased as the oil was depleted, and eventually led to the abandonment or near abandonment of many of these Oklahoma boomtowns. The Osage could no longer be rich without working. There's a cruel and bitter irony in all of this. The Osage were killed for. After the onset of the Great Depression,
He said, The Osage could no longer be rich without working. All right. Now, no matter who they showing with this fake tribe and all this bullshit, don't let that fool you. The moral of the story is the land was stolen by the Ku Klux Klan. All right. First off, who still owns it? All right. And now they are getting rich off the land without working. Do you understand how this works?
Depression, the Osage wealth in oil rapidly decreased as the oil was depleted, and eventually led to the abandonment or near abandonment of many of these Oklahoma boomtowns. The Osage could no longer be rich without working. There's a cruel and bitter irony in all of this. The Osage were killed for their money. Then when the murder plot was solved and the culprits punished, there was no more money. It was almost as if they had died for no reason, not even one as selfish and greedy as material wealth. Before this video ends, let's take a quick look at what happened to the main players in this case in the following years. First, Molly Burkhart, the most tortured person in this whole story. Her last two siblings had been brutally murdered. Her mother had died shortly afterward. Her husband had committed the ultimate betrayal. And during the trials, her 4-year-old daughter had died. It's difficult to imagine putting yourself in any situation that even remotely reaches such levels of pain. After the trial for the murder of her sister, Anna, she finally came to the hard realization that Ernest was telling the truth, that he had assisted in the murder plot that claimed her family and friends. Her affection and trust for him quickly evaporated, and she quickly divorced him. Unfortunately, her 2 surviving children were stigmatized for the rest of their lives for their blood relation to Ernest, now considered one of the most hated people in the community. And it was something that they couldn't possibly escape from. Molly married another man in 1928, and by all accounts, it was a happy marriage. In 1931, Molly was finally able to be legally deemed competent to manage her own finances, and became a full American citizen. She died 6 years later in 1937, at the age of 50. Tom White left the Bureau of Investigation shortly after the conclusion of the Osage murder case, going on to become the warden of Leavenworth Prison in Kansas, where one of his prisoners was none other than William Hale. In 1931, White was nearly killed when rioting prisoners kidnapped him at gunpoint, took him away for leverage, and ended up shooting him point blank with a shotgun and left him for dead in a ditch. But miraculously, White survived, though had a limp left arm for the rest of his life. He later became the warden of another prison. He died in 1971 at the ripe age of 90.
So now you got this Indian murdering KKK motherfucker is the warden of the prison until 1971, my niggas. You understanding what's going on, bro? Bro, all you niggas with that brotherhood shit, bro, if you a goddamn Freemason, nigga, you a KKK. You need to burn that motherfucker down respectfully. This is not advice. You know, it's a metaphor. You need to separate yourself. Metaphorically destroy it in your life. If you're in a goddamn goddamn into college, you need to get out that shit too. You might as well put on a white hood, nigga. You KKK too, nigga. And see, what they don't understand, tribe, is although they try to hide the shit I say is heard, my nigga. And it's heard by enough niggas that is spread, my nigga. It's called the Chitlin Circuit, my nigga. The grapevine. Shit like that. See, we connected. That, as I said, is the Great Spirit.
William Hale, the evil kingpin in all of this, believe it or not, was actually released from prison in 1947 after serving 20 years at Leavenworth due to good behavior and being a model prisoner. He lived more than a decade as a free man, though he wasn't allowed to go to Oklahoma. He died in 1962 at the age of 87. Even while in prison, he had still referred to himself as a true friend of the Osage people and never admitted to orchestrating any of the killings. Ernest Burkhart, perhaps the most complex character in this story, was released from prison in 1937, but was sent back for reportedly robbing an Osage home. He was released again in
This nigga doing the same thing that motherfucking dirty police doing now. Kick those. Alright? Motherfuckers been said niggas was in Chicago, motherfuckers smoking niggas in Chicago. Them niggas was, it wasn't niggas. What's that rapping nigga name? What's that nigga name? That nigga Frenchie Montana fed to him. Fed to the adversary, Chinks. Boy, they had a triangulation shot of this nigga. Here. When they shot the nigga, let me show you. Show you what I mean. The shots through the nigga window was like in a triangle shape. All right. So really it's like gotta be a marksman, you know what I'm saying? Like my granddaddy, you know what I'm talking about? A sharpshooter. See if I can find an image for some people who aren't as familiar. And you know, they be really high as shit, man. If you really want to see what's going on in the world, fuck with that AI shit and put shit about aboriginal shit in there and watch how the AI will send you somewhere else, my nigga. Here, let's see. So you got these KKK motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying? Murder motherfuckers, doing kick those, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, let's do this. And the shit's still going on.
Hip-hop star Chinks was shot and killed while his family stands strong in their fight for justice. The two men charged with his murder are off the streets. Now the NYPD and the Queens DA say they'll prove the case in court. Hip-hop star Lionel Chinks Pickens was murdered on May 17th. Thank you. To come that close to him,
It's
you know,
hard.
in that courtroom there in
I don't want to get too far off course, man. Long story short, they got photos which are clearly scrubbed from the motherfucking. Okay, let's see if we can find it. I really want y'all to see these photos. Let's see if let's see. Because they're saying it like some regular ass niggas did it. Here it is. But these niggas ain't no regular ass shooters, all right? And why it's not showing on that screen? All right. You see that? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You know how motherfucking surgical that nigga is? This is how surgical your enemy is.
And was barely able to get an official pardon from the state of Oklahoma in 1965, which allowed him to live in the state again. He moved to Ernest's brother, who had also assisted in at least one of the murders, died in 1985 at the age of 86.
Died in 1985 at the age of 86. Do you know how much shit he affected? Oh, they live good lives.
For some reason, I couldn't find any information on John Ramsey after he was paroled in 1947, the same time as William Hale. Dick Gregg, the outlaw who had testified that Hale had asked him to kill Bill and Rita Smith, was shot and killed after he murdered 2 Tulsa policemen in 1929. A similar fate awaited Blackie Thompson, the outlaw that implicated Ernest Burkhart, when he was also killed by lawmen in 1934. Understandably, many in the Osage Nation were upset that Hale, Burkhart, and Ramsey didn't serve out their life sentences, and believed this to be a severe lack of the maintenance of justice from the same justice system that had so rightfully convicted them in the first place.
What he said?
Serve out their life sentences, and believed this to be and believed this to be a severe lack of understandably, many in the Osage Nation were upset that Hale, Burkhart, and Ramsey didn't serve out their life sentences. Lawmen in 1934 didn't serve out their life sentences. 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 And didn't serve out their life sentences. Didn't serve out their life sentences. Didn't serve out their life sentences. Didn't serve out their life sentences, and believed this to be a severe lack of the maintenance of justice from the same justice system that had so rightfully convicted them in the first place. Despite the severity and cold-bloodedness of the Osage murders, the case has been largely forgotten outside of the Osage community for over a century, but it looks like that is about to change. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, one book titled Killers of the Flower Moon focused on the case and was well received. It was published in 2017 by journalist and author David Grann, and suddenly sparked more interest in the case. And right now, as I speak, a movie based on the story is being made, directed by Martin Scorsese, and starring Leonardo DiCaprio as Ernest Burkhart and Robert De Niro as William Hale. I'm very interested in how this film will turn out, since I'm a big fan of Scorsese and his collaborations with Leo and De Niro. Just like the Bath School Massacre, this story needs to be told, despite the upsetting are others that might never have even been discovered. If some of the other murders aren't related to Hale, and this does seem to be the case, that would just be another glimpse into the extent of the dark depths of human nature and greed, and the troubles that great wealth can bring. The elders of the tribe had probably been right to be suspicious. The prospect of amassing a fortune without doing any actual work had driven people to do horrific things. If it hadn't been for the oil and the money, perhaps none of this would have ever happened to the Osage.
What you got to speak? If you don't know shit to speaking on this topic I'm bringing up, shut your goddamn ass up.
I'm talking about straight business, man. I know they don't like me. They be all on the internet talking about the pimp. Pimp rap like he writing nursery rhyme. Pimp this and pimp that. You know what though, bitch? Say you put your real motherfucking address and your phone number on that shit. You ain't saying nothing, nigga. Hide behind them email address. You a hoe.
What kind of Indian are you? Like Tonto Indian?
Shinnecock Indian.
Really? You're a Shinnecock?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know you're a Shinnecock.
You could have fooled me.
That's the kind I am.
Hey.
So you should be Big Chief Bastard, not older.
His family was here when Columbus landed, huh?
Is that right?
Yes.
So you are not a black man, you're an Indian?
I'm an Indian.
No kidding.
Call this